Hey, welcome to the second episode of This Old Rock Shirt. I guess that's what we're calling it, right? This Old Rock Shirt.
Makes sense.
Okay, so we're going way back with this one. This is a shirt I bought at a concert. Hold it up, Emily. Yeah.
Wow.
And
Whoa.
of course, we are all celebrating Motley Crue lately because Mick Mars just appeared on our Talking Metal podcast. And of course, The Dirt is now out on Netflix. Hopefully you guys have seen that. I would love to hear what you think of that. And so Emily, this comes from the Aragon Ballroom, aka the Aragon Brawl Room.
I've heard so much about this place.
Yeah, which
Chicago, right?
Chicago, which it opened. I got some notes here. Let's see. It opened in. Let me put on my glasses. It opened in 1926, and I guess it's still open today. And of course, I saw Motley Crue there in 1984. That same year, The Clash played there. Adam Ant. The next year, The Cure were there. Metallica were there. Ozzy has played there. Aerosmith,
How
Rush.
big is it?
I don't know. It probably holds like 2,000. I'm totally guessing.
Yeah.
Probably like the Hammerstein in New York,
Wow.
like that type of vibe. So this was my first concert. I mean, as a kid, I had gone to see Chuck Mangione twice. Once in Buffalo, New York, and once in what's the place in New York City? The real fancy place, Carnegie Hall. That's what it is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I saw Chuck Mangione there. So technically, those were my first two concerts when I was like, 5 and 6. But my true first rock concert, this concert where this T-shirt comes from, and what a time in Motley Crue history. I mean, look at that.
It's paper thin. I wish you
Yeah.
could. Oh,
Yeah, I think it's an extra large, but look at the tag.
Yeah.
You can't even see the tag anymore. It's like, but
you wore this a few times.
yeah, I wore this all the way back in high school, as we saw in the last episode. My jazz band picture, I was wearing this,
Yep.
and I wore this on VH1's Most Metal Moments.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I've continued to wear it, but I think it's time to sell it. What do you think?
Oh, no way. That is an NO. You're not ever selling this T-shirt.
I mean,
I have so many memories
I'm
of
gonna
this
school you,
T-shirt.
but can't we get like $200 for this?
Oh, no, you could get like $600 for this
No
shirt.
way.
Yes,
Really?
you could. Yes, you could.
Yeah.
You could get that much money.
Okay.
It's got the Shout at the Devil tour, 83 to 84 on the back.
Right. So this was
You
the
could get-
tour. So go ahead.
We should look it up right now.
Yeah, well, we should. This was the tour after they went out with Ozzy. So they went out with Ozzy, opening for the Bark at the Moon tour, which Mick speaks about in the interview I just did with him on Talking Metal episode 802. And then they came back around and they did this headlining tour, which was Heavy Pettin', which was a band Brian May from Queen was producing.
Amazing.
I remember they played like 20 minutes. Then Saxon came on, and I was very impressed with Saxon that night. And then, of course, Motley Crue. And of course, this, again, we're talking about the Aragon Ballroom concert, my first concert on May 11th, 1984, guys. And life-changing event for me. My mom took my friend Terry, the same guy last time.
Terry Gallimore.
Yeah, who is wearing the Rush T-shirt in the yearbook picture. And I noticed my other best friend, Lonnie Lane, a.k.a. Scott Lane, was also wearing a Rush T-shirt that same
Nice.
year. Yeah, in the yearbook.
Classic.
And I remember Lonnie Lane's parents wouldn't let him go. So
The school night.
yeah, and I think we bought Scott, a.k.a. Lonnie Lane. No, it wasn't a school night. It was a weekend.
Was it?
I'm pretty
Oh, you
sure.
know what?
yeah.
It was Shout at the Devil. Everyone was scared of the Satanism.
Yeah,
time.
maybe. And so we had this fourth ticket because my mom took us to the show. So I remember asking around, and this kid in my shop class, my wood class, his name was Rodney Hummerding.
Oh,
came with
wow.
us. Yeah.
That's a name.
And he was like all into it that night. He wasn't like a super close friend, but he came with us and we like bonded at the show. And I remember he bought a t-shirt. He wore it the next day. And then like 2 months later, he was like, I don't like Motley Crue anymore. I don't like them. Like he was like too cool for Crue or something.
Too cool for the Crue.
And then I remember this same jerk, he like threatened me like a year later and wanted to like fight me over something. Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Rodney Hummerding. Yeah. So I'm still pissed about
We gotta
that.
look him up.
I did. I was just trolling him on
you were-
Facebook. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I found him because we had a mutual friend,
Rodney,
Jeff Curtis.
We're coming for you.
And he has on Facebook, and he has pictures of like his bingo tickets and stuff up on his Facebook
Nice.
page. So
So
good luck
he
with your
chose
bingo, Rodney.
Good luck with the bingo.
Yeah.
So he chose the bingo over the Crue.
True.
That's
Yes.
to each his own.
I still have the ticket stub from this show, and I remember specifically hearing the ad on the radio. Remember how they used to have like Motley Crue and Saxon coming, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember they would play all these Crue songs in the commercial. And it was weird because in the commercial, I specifically remember they quickly, plus Saxon, and they quickly played like 5 seconds of a Saxon song. And they played Power and the Glory instead of something off of Crusader, which was interesting because this was the tour for the Crusader record, which I went and bought specifically because I knew I was going to see Saxon.
Yeah.
I didn't know much about Saxon, but because I loved the Crue.
You wouldn't be able to sing along.
Yeah,
a
so I
bit.
bought the Crusader
Good.
record, my first Saxon album. After the concert, I went back and bought the Power and the Glory record by Saxon. Such good memories. I always remembered that they played every song off of Shout at the Devil, which was my favorite record at that time in history, except Danger. So that's how I remembered it in my head.
Huh.
So I went back and did confirm that online. So
You found the set list.
Yeah, I found the
Isn't
set
it
list.
amazing that we can find any set list we want nowadays?
So yeah, it is. And so technically they played 10 songs off of Shout at the Devil if you include the intro, which was in the beginning, which they played before they came on. And they played only 4 songs off of Too Fast for Love, which is interesting, you know, but a great set list by the guys that night. And I will say in the Dirt book, there's no mention of this tour with Saxon. No mention of it whatsoever. There's one line where they say, after the Ozzy tour, we went out to do some headlining dates. And they mentioned they were touring with Rat, which I don't remember that in the Chicagoland area where I lived. Other memories of this, I remember buying the ticket stubs from a record store called Rose Records in Downers Grove, Illinois, which you've probably heard me speak of before.
Yeah.
And I remember my mom, when she bought the tickets, saying, is this going to be a safe concert? You know, and I remember the guy, oh, it'll be fine. It's a great place. And I think that neighborhood now, from what I understand, has gentrified. Mm-hmm. But at the time, it was a pretty rough neighborhood. I remember being in the parking lot and hearing bottles smash. Mm-hmm. There were fights at the show, hence the Aragon Brawl Room. And I remember the jacket I wore. I was wearing this like blue windbreaker jacket, which at the time was not cool. And it had these like reflector marks. So when I was riding my bike, people could see me. And everyone was like in spandex and leather. And you got to remember, Motley Crue was still underground. I mean, this is pre-Home Sweet Home, you know, hit single. They were still kind of a dirty, nasty band, as they always were. And to me, Shout at the Devil was truly the only Crue album that really was kind of metal, if you will. Mm-hmm. The imagery, even the sound, you know, Too Fast for Love had a punky edge to it. And then they went more commercial rock, more rock with the stuff after that. But Shout at the Devil, to me, always was the Crue album that was, at least by 1984, 1983 standards.
Single, Shout at the Devil, scared me.
It was kind of scary for kids, you know, at that time. So anyways, again, this is from my first concert, the Motley Crue concert. And Emily says we should not sell it.
We're not selling
it. But do I keep it and keep wearing it, or do you cut it up and wear it? I kind of like wearing it every
I think you should wear it.
Yeah.
It's one of the few that still fits you. Yeah. So I think you should. A lot of them just don't fit you anymore. This one actually is pretty big. I mean, yeah. You should definitely keep this and wear it.
Okay. We'll 100%. Continue wearing it. And Emily, what was your first concert, by the way?
Well, do I have to say? So let's just rewind. Yours was Mangione, right? It was Chuck
technically,
Mangione. Yeah. So technically, my first concert was the Monkees.
Right.
1987.
How old were you then?
I was in the 5th grade. So what, 10 years old?
Right.
Is that right? And then shortly thereafter that, my second concert was Cinderella, Nelson, and Lynch Mob.
Oh, right.
And Lynch Mob
That was the one where they had to pull you out of the audience.
They had to pull me out of the audience. It was my first, because it was general admission. The Monkees was nice seating, you know, on the floor. This was general admission. I didn't even know what that meant. I was there with my friend Mandy. People were ashing. I was so little. I was 10 or 11 years old. People were ashing on my head and like cigarette burns, and I didn't know what was going on. And I remember that wave when the lights went down, that push.
Right. Yeah.
That wave. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to die. Because at that time, I'd already heard stories about people really dying at concerts and being crushed. And I was kind of panicked. And I remember one of the guys spotting me and saying, you want out? You want out? Come on. Because I was itty bitty. I mean, look at me now.
Yeah.
Imagine me when I was 10. I was just like, it would have. So that was sad because I wanted to be in the front.
Right, I hear you.
And I wasn't. But so it was a great. I mean, I still love Cinderella. They're still one of my favorites.
Yeah, absolutely. Love Cinderella, love Lynch Mob, and love you guys for watching this video. Thank you. You can support us on Patreon. You can follow Emily on Instagram. Here's the Instagram address for her. And check us out on talkingrock.net. All right, cool. We can't wait. We're going to see Vince Neil from the Motley Crue. We're still seeing these guys live. We're seeing him at the M3 Festival.
Can't wait.
Real soon in early May. We'll see you there. Thanks, guys.